Hello everyone, my name is Inho Choi. I am a research fellow at the University of Southern California and Berggruen Institute. I want to introduce my new article published in the Review of International Studies. Its title is On Being Chinese and Being Complexified, Chinese IR as a Transcultural Project. My article asks, what does the word Chinese mean in the Chinese IR? There is a growing group of the Chinese scholars who promote a distinct Chinese school of international relations, and they argue the Chinese culture can be used to create a distinctive Chinese IR theory. Critics, on the other hand, accuse them of nationalist exceptionalism and cultural essentialism. However, both sides do not question what does Chineseness really mean. The pictures you see are the portraits of the current and past Chinese rulers. There is Xi Jinping, but there are also the portraits of the Yongzheng Emperor of the Qing dynasty in 4 different styles: European, Tibetan, Mongol, and Confucian. These portraits illustrate Chineseness contains a lot more complexity than the one represented by the current Chinese nation. Questioning Chineseness is important because it can open up new paths for the future of the Chinese IR. My article pursues these possibilities by investigating the conceptual history and ontology of Chineseness. There has been 3 prominent ways of defining Chineseness. First is China as a people. It defines China as a kinship and ethnic association. This is the approach many Chinese IR theorists take when they define China as Chinese nation. Second is China as a place. It defines China as the geographical center of the world. In Chinese, 中土. This is also a very old idea and already appears in the early Chinese texts such as Book of Document. Third is China as a culture. It defines China as a set of specific cultural attributes. They can be Confucianism, a set of rituals, among many others. Ethnic foreigners, such as the Qing rulers, can become Chinese if they adopt Chinese culture and institutions. These 3 do not necessarily coincide. For example, during the Qing dynasty, the geographical and ethnic definitions sharply diverged. When they diverged, various groups contest over the meaning of Chineseness and who is the legitimate successor of Chinese tradition. This contestation indicates that there is no fixed reference for the word China. Rather, it is an identity marker constructed through contestation over its meaning. To capture this constructed nature of Chineseness, we need a non-essentialist definition. Thus, I define Chineseness as a genealogical fiction. It is a constructed fiction of the descent from the idealized Chinese antiquity. For example, Koreans have maintained a Confucian temple where they worshipped both Chinese and Korean sages and scholars. This diagram depicts the arrangement of ritual tablets in a Korean Confucian temple. This collective arrangement created a fictional connection between the ancient Chinese sages and Korean scholars who made them the legitimate successor of Chinese antiquity. In other words, each participant of contestation could redefine Chineseness as long as they could utilize the shared formative conditions such as classical text. In the process of contestation, they also brought in new elements to the shared stock of formative conditions. The result was what I call transcultural Chineseness. In an essentialist definition, Chinese cultural community is bounded by the shared homogeneous attributes such as Confucianism. In contrast, as a genealogical fiction, Chineseness has no fixed attribute. It only has the shared formative conditions which diverse groups such as Tibetans, Mongols, and Han Chinese use to contest over its meaning. Through this contestation, they create transcultural Chineseness, which is heterogeneous and whose boundary is constantly shifting. However, even the transcultural conception of Chineseness does not sufficiently address the distinctive character of Chineseness. To do that, we need to go beyond the concept of culture itself and think of Chineseness as a set of magical conventions. Or, in the words of Roy Wagner, Chineseness was immanent humanity rather than a culture. As immanent humanity, Chineseness encompasses both natural and cultural domains. Also, its symbolic conventions, such as Chinese characters, had magical functions. For example, the Chinese character for culture, 1, was originally a magical tattoo inscribed on the chest. In other words, Chineseness has a different ontology from the Western dichotomy of culture and nature. I have introduced the conceptual history and distinctive ontology of transcultural Chineseness. This reconfigured Chineseness can work as the basis for a transcultural Chinese IR. This transcultural Chinese IR works as a double complexifications project. On its internal side, the Transcultural Chinese IR will investigate the internal complexity of the Transcultural Chinese tradition. On its external side, the Transcultural Chinese IR can use the distinctive ontology of Chineseness as immanent humanity to complexify the ontologies of other IR traditions. This way, it will pluralize IR discipline while maintaining its own universal aspiration and complexity. The Transcultural Chinese IR is similar to Chinatowns. They add a uniquely Chinese feature to the host country while internally possessing various cultural elements, including that of the host country. The prospect of Chinese IR is still undetermined. My article aimed to enrich the theoretical basis for its future exploration by showing the distinctive ontology and transcultural lineage of Chineseness. I hope you enjoyed listening, and hopefully you will find more interesting points in my article. Thank you.